Hi everyone and welcome to the GameFace MPNFL Netball Show. As you can see, we're without Christy this week. She's a little bit unwell, which is a shame, but I'm sure she's resting up her body so she's good for finals come tomorrow, because already we're at the end of the season. So.
And what a great season it's been, Sammy.
Unreal.
We've seen the introduction of the premium player rule, which I know a lot of people have had their thoughts about, but you can't argue it's done what it's served its
Certainly
purpose for.
Certainly an even competition, isn't it? No one can argue
definitely
against
evened
that.
out our competition.
Definitely.
And we're also about to see the top 5 final structure play out for the first time in our league this season.
Really exciting. So that'll be Div 2 starting tomorrow, and we'll start next week. So that'll be really good to see. Yeah. So before we jump into the all-important preview of those finals, we wanted to just have a very special mention.
That's right, Sammy. I think everyone who saw the post of Taryn Graham on the GameFace Netball page last week was touched with when they saw the photo of Taryn. Set to make a return for Crib Point on the weekend on the court after feeling strong enough following some chemo treatment. So Taryn had been out all season, just been receiving her diagnosis just prior to round 1. So we're really happy to see her out on the court, and more happy to report that she was out there and managed a quarter and had a great day out against Tyab last week.
Fantastic.
So she split the quarter between the third and fourth quarter, so half of each quarter, just to conserve her energy.
Coming back in, yeah.
Exactly. Sure. I didn't even manage 10 minutes on the weekend. So, but we had a message from Laura, one of the head coaches down at Crib Point, that it was amazing and so inspiring for the whole club. There were big cheers and, of course, lots of tears when she was able to get on the court.
I can only imagine.
To top off a great day, Crib Point also came away with the win, so I'm sure the girls were pretty happy with that.
That's awesome. Very good. Well, congrats to Taryn and also to Crib Point, who are without a doubt a family of their own down there, and I can only imagine the support coming out of the club for those guys as well.
Exactly, Sammy. That's what a football netball club is all about. So congrats to all of everyone down at Crib Point. Everyone should be really proud of themselves, and congratulations again to you, Taryn, for a very inspiring effort indeed.
Absolutely. And look, on that, we're going to move on straight away to our Swordfish Wine Bar and Tapas match or player of the round. Because I don't think you can really go past Taryn for this one, can you? That is just the most inspiring effort, I think. Each week we give it out to someone who's been a standout player. Now that can be for performance, but also if it's a personal best game, or something as amazing as Taryn getting back after chemo. So we just 100%. Want to say big congratulations to Taryn, and we're definitely awarding you the Swordfish Wine Bar and Tapas Player of the Round this week. And so just make sure you contact Trish to claim that award through Facebook.
Up next, we'll have a look at Div 1 netball, including last week's results, and most importantly, what's in store for us this last round of the season, and who's looking like taking those top final places for the top 5. But first, let's see a quick message from one of our sponsors. And thanks again to Swift's Locker for their support. Don't forget, if you need any Netty Trip tops or are looking to get some new uniforms next season for 2020, check out the guys at Swift's Locker. Now let's get stuck into Div 1, including the standout results from last week, Sammy, and what we can expect to see in this final round as we head into the final 5.
Absolutely. So I'm taking over this week because you're going to tackle Div 2 for us a bit later, Lou. So look, let's see how we go. Jump in if you need to. I'm sure you will. So we're going to start with having a look at the under-17s first. First of all, last week I just wanted to highlight one of the results there. The 4th place Mornington actually defeated the 2nd place Sorrento, and they got it done just by 31-28, so just 3 goals in it. So it was a really tight match. Yeah, so would have been really good to see, and just highlights, I think, how close that top 4 are as well for the under-17s. And
apart from Mount Eliza, who've had an undefeated season to date so far in the under-17s,
very strong.
That top 4, the other 3 fighting for their positions
very
in
close.
there. So pretty exciting stuff for this last final.
It is, yeah. So there's room for movement with this last game tomorrow as well. So I believe Sorrento and Rosebud were fighting to finish 2nd. So that will be really interesting to see who comes out on top there. We've actually got this week for under-17s as well. It's 1st versus 2nd, 3rd versus 4th, and 5th versus 6th. So I don't think you can get much better than that.
No, you can't. It's going to be a cracking last round. And as you mentioned, they're fighting for the second spot in this week's game, and then that's an all-important second chance in the under-17s, given that it's a Final Four, just due to the number of teams, so not a Final Five like the rest of them, so that top 2 spot is
very important,
pretty handy when it comes to finals.
It might be a little bit tricky for Sorrento. They've obviously got to get the job done against Mount Eliza, who are undefeated, whereas Rosebud are playing Mornington, who they're very close on the ladder, but maybe a little bit of an easier job for them. So.
Mornington knocked off Sorrento last week, so we're in for a cracking game in the under-17s, and you never know. Sitting on top of the ladder, they might be a little bit too comfortable there.
True, they might come into it expecting to win, which you never can do, can you? So it'll be really interesting to see. So good luck tomorrow, girls. Moving on out to D grade. So probably the standout last week, I think, for D grade was your girls YCW Lou. They were sitting third, defeated Mount Eliza second on the ladder, but they got it done by a 10-goal margin. So that
they had a cracking game.
Impressive.
I think I watched, we were playing at, well, my team wasn't, but we had 2 games going at the same time, so I was switching between.
Get that nice indoor court.
Between the 2 games, it was nice. So we were indoors, we didn't have the horrible weather, but the girls just came out firing, played a really team-orientated game. There was some standout players that were playing some great netball, but they all put their hands on the line and all dug deep.
It makes a massive difference when your whole team plays, doesn't it?
Exactly. A little bit of confidence going into the final series, knowing they're coming up against them again in a couple of weeks. So I think Mount Eliza probably weren't expecting. From what you saw, I don't think they were expecting a harder fight as what came out, and they struggled to adjust. So I'm sure they'll put that into practice over the next couple of weeks.
When you come out firing at the start, that makes a really massive difference for the tone of the rest of the game.
Yeah, and the girls didn't step their foot off. I don't know 100% what the scores were at each quarter break, but I know they were up at halftime and then up by a little bit. And once they were up in that third quarter, I don't think they were ever a shot of losing it, because they were like, nah, this is ours. We've got a point to prove. So let's see what happens come finals for these guys.
Fantastic. So looking to tomorrow, I should say, the top 5 are locked in, but the top 3 are also locked in. So with that second chance, so we're already set for D grade.
So hopefully the girls didn't play their
qualifying
final a little bit too early.
They've got to bring it.
They've got to bring it again in 2 weeks, but we'll see what happens.
Now we've actually got a good finals preview tomorrow as well. So we see first versus second, which is Eddie versus Mount Eliza, and then we've got third versus fourth. So that's your girls against Bomb Beach. So
and your girls sitting undefeated at the minute, so could go into the.
They've had a very, very strong season. Our young girls down in D grade. So it looks
take the minor premiership undefeated.
Can't say that they haven't been pushed. There've been some really tough games, but they have been playing very, very well. So hopefully they can continue that into finals and get the job done. We'll see how they go. C grade now, our favourite. Can I say that?
You can say that.
Can't help myself. So last week, I think probably the most interesting one was actually our girls' game. We were playing Bombers, who, as we know, they're sitting lower on the ladder, but they're a very, very tough team. And we got the job done, but only by 2 goals. So they pushed us right to the very end.
Yeah, I was going to quiz you about that, Sammy, because I had a look at it, and
I thought you might have. We struggled a little bit. We had a couple of injuries, and we also had. I actually had to play in B grade. That's how desperate they were in B grade that I had to play up. So so we were missing a few of our sort of normal starters, which made it tough for our girls. But they really put the effort in.
They got the 4 points, and that's all you need in the end.
That was what's important at
and
this time of the year.
And it helped our case because it brought your percentage down. As well, so.
Thanks. Awesome.
I was pretty happy with that. And then there wasn't really too much else that came out of C grade.
Everything else was pretty
very
expected.
Big weekend this weekend. I know our girls. We only had a 1-goal win against Mount Eliza last time and came away with a 23-goal win, or 24, sorry. So we were pretty happy with that. But really depends. We've seen this season what Mount Eliza team turns up, and people say it all the time, the scoreboard doesn't reflect the game. It didn't really. I didn't think that was the bigger margin, but it was. So we'll take it.
Yeah.
But the girls played really well. But they are a nice outfit, and if they can actually get it together.
The interesting thing about tomorrow as well is they're actually pushing for that top 5 spot. So they're sitting in 6th at the minute. They need to beat us to get into that 5th spot. So we'll be, I'm sure,
it'll be a cracking game. But you've got so they could have really it's do or die for them.
Yeah,
so
it shows if they'd had a little bit more consistency through the season that they definitely would have been in
they've beaten some of the top teams. So it's interesting. And then you've got Rosebud also playing for the final 5 spot. So Rosebud, Mount Eliza sitting on the same points at the minute.
They are. They've got a little bit of technically an easier job in 8th place Bombers, but again,
not from last week.
they are playing very well. So they'll be a challenge as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they go.
And then if we have Rosebud or Mount Eliza drop, both of them drop the games, Germana comes into play as well. So pretty exciting stuff.
It's amazing, really. And we've got a top 7. That's just crazy.
It's really close. So
it's really awesome.
Nothing else can really change. If YC win, they'll cement the top spot. Then if we lose and EDS win, it will come down to percentage. So that could be interesting of who gets the week off.
And I think Bomb Beach, so you're playing Bomb Beach.
We're playing Bomb Beach.
They're fighting for that 3rd spot on the ladder. So if they beat you, then they lock that in.
Yeah, they'll lock that in. And they're pretty much...
big carrot for them as well.
No, not really. I was going to say they pretty much lock it in with the loss, but they don't. So it'll come down to percentage on that.
It's a fairly tight percentage, so it'll just depend on how Mornington go and how well they win as to whether they can move up the ladder. So
a lot to play for in C grade for this last round of the season. So exciting.
Can't wait to see. So B grade now, guys. Last week, actually, interestingly, we had Mornington, who were sitting in 6th spot, defeat Sorrento in 5th, but they got it done 42-28. So that's quite a big margin, I think, for such a closely, they're so close on the ladder. But it's very interesting because it actually, Mornington now move into 5th spot by percentage. So
they've knocked them out?
Yeah, so between Mornington and Sorrento, it's very, very tight. Look, it's going to be a tough ask for them, I think, to keep that 5th spot because they actually play Germana, who are sitting in 4th this week, whereas Sorrento face Pines, who are in 8th. So, look, you would expect that Sorrento will move up again. But look, again, as we know, Pines can be a very tough team to beat too, so there could be a little bit of an upset there, and that will really determine who takes that 5th spot in finals. So a lot to play for there as well, I think.
Just before we did miss one thing in C grade that we did want to mention. Sorrento, their C grade team last week, we gave a bit of a shout out to, saying they are on the bottom of the ladder, haven't managed to get a win, but came out firing last week and only lost to Mornington, the top 5 side, I think sitting 4th by 5 goals.
That's amazing.
So that's, like I said, they're up there, and they've got the chance to actually get a win on the board this season. So sorry, Pines, I'm going to be barracking hard for the Sorrento girls, so they can get a win across the line, and then everyone in the divisions had a win.
Yeah, fantastic.
So that'd be great for them if they can do that.
Awesome, thanks, Lou.
That's right.
So I think in when we're looking at B grade as well, I think that's really the only thing that will change. The top 3 is locked in, so it'll just be who makes that top 5 spot, which will be interesting for sure. Moving on to A grade now, I think the results from last week were all pretty much as expected.
Some big wins.
Yes, I was having a look. There's actually in 8th spot, your girls, YCW, was sitting there and they played Mount Eliza in 9th, so very close on the ladder, but got the job done by 20 goals.
Yeah,
so
they had a great game. We were playing at the time, so I can't really talk about it. Other than they had a good game.
Yeah, good game. Look, and I was actually interested to note there were a few high scores, given that the weather was so shocking. I wonder whether there was maybe a few games moved indoors because there was definitely some high scoring there, or whether the girls just adjusted really well to the weather. And yeah, so I thought that's definitely worth a mention. Good on your goalers, because that's very impressive in that weather if you were outside. Now, look, the top 5 are locked in, but the order can change. So we've got the top 3 clubs are going to be top 3, but the order of those can change.
There's 4 points separating.
4 points separating them, which is really, really tight. Now, look, those top 3 teams play 6th, 8th and 9th on the ladder. So if they all get the job done as expected, then the order will remain the same, but it would take an upset to actually change that order. So it will be interesting to see if anyone can come through and change that around a bit. And we've got Mornington and Germana in 4th and 5th, and they actually play each other. So that will determine where those guys finish as well. So because they are very, very tight there too. So I think there's 2 points separating them. So the win will get the job done. So yeah, some really interesting things coming up tomorrow for Div 1. So can't wait to see how we finish the season.
It's certainly going to be a cracking day and a big big day of netball ahead, especially for those fighting for their place in finals. We know there's quite a few out there. So best of luck to all teams. Congrats on an awesome season so far, and can't wait to have a look and see who's going to be in the final 5 next week.
The GameFace app with great interest.
But for now, let's have a look at Div 2's first week of finals a little bit later. But up next, we've got Netflix and Skills right after this message from our sponsor.
so much to Frankie Media for their ongoing support. And now it's time for Netflix and Skills. What have we got up first, Lou?
First up, we have this beauty from Langwarrin. One of their last training sessions had a bit of a celebration with a onesie party. I think that's their A and B grade getting together. Maybe a little bit of twister. Hope no injuries happened. Certainly
can get competitive, as we know.
But everyone looking fantastic. And I'm not sure from that who I'd give best dress to, but there's a couple I like.
Pretty good ones in there, isn't it? I can't go past the Christmas jammies. That's pretty cool. Next, we've got Karingal. So they're also celebrating their last training session with an 80s night. So some really great dress ups there, as you can see from the photos. That's good effort. I'm very impressed.
Some nice spandex there.
Yeah, hopefully, you'd have to layer up pretty well if you're training outside, I reckon, this time of year. But
and then taking the cake this week, a lot of Div 2 teams getting in the spirit of the last training session, so awesome. We have Tyab Footy Netball Club who had a dodgeball tournament for their last training session. So
again, hopefully no injuries.
No, one of the
get serious too.
End of the season, we're all good. One of the dodgeball teams dressing up as a team of tennis players, and we had the Kaylee Roger Federer Brown dubbed as the best on for Tyab for training in their last game.
Kaylee, that's awesome. And the last up, we've actually got a couple of photos here from Edie. So the first shot is some synchronised defending, you can see, from 2018.
Some
both missed the ball, unfortunately,
too.
But yeah, great game faces in
from
there.
From the look
as
of
well.
that, everyone missed the ball.
Not a bad effort. And we've got another flashback there. So back in, I think it was 2012, we've got 3 of our probably least disciplined off-court players accepting our most disciplined club award. So that was a classic.
Off the court, on the court, totally different games.
So thanks so much, you guys, for sending those through. Make sure you keep them coming. So inbox the GameFace page directly, or of course me, Lou, or Christy. And any good skill stuff, as well as any nice end of year celebrations if you're finishing off before finals. And so now it is time for our rumour file. And Lou, you get the honours this week with no Christy.
How exciting! My first rumour file. Dun, dun, dun. And what do we have this week? Div 1. Which Div 1 club has worked hard to get a player qualified for finals, only to have the player suffer a season-ending injury with just 1 round to go?
Oh.
Maybe we need Christy back so we can get the question out.
But that's not good.
I wonder why they had to qualify someone.
Well,
they must have had something.
Someone else is injured or away, or something's happened.
And then that's a bugger.
That's such
coming
a big
into
blow.
your last end of the season.
There's no more options, is there? There's no time to get anyone
No,
else
you can't qualify anyone else. So they'll have to put some tactics into that, I'm sure.
No good.
And then in Div 2, which Div 2 finals-bound team had to call a special meeting to address tensions between players prior to finals?
You'd not want to see that, really, would you? You want your team by this stage of the season to be gelling pretty well.
You wouldn't, but you kind of do, as a coach, see a little bit more of it towards the end of the season.
Argy-bargy, you reckon?
Yeah, when players are fighting for the spot. So,
yeah, true.
Sometimes it can be warranted. Sometimes it can just be like, I'm going to try and stamp my feet to make a little bit, and everyone has a different opinion of what's going on the court. So could be lots of reasons for it, but some very interesting
hopefully the coach did a good job
in Div 2. So hopefully Ed sorted it out at the annual general special meeting and got the players back on board. So thanks for sending those through, guys. Make sure you keep them coming. You can inbox either of us directly or Christy as well, or the GameFace page. So plenty of options, but we want to hear the goss, and we wonder if there's anything more juicy, particularly coming off the back of that. Now it's finals time.
Yeah, that's it, absolutely. All right, guys, so now let's have a look at Div 2. We've got, obviously, finals week starting, Lou.
We do, and, I've had my eyes close on the Div 2 season this year, so hopefully I can give it a good crack. But heading into the under-17s, we have Langy just missing out on the finals by percentage, so really unfortunate for them. But
that's tight, isn't it?
It is tight, and it's unfortunate.
But they would have made it.
They would have made it, exactly. So this week, Seaford are lucky enough to have the week off, which leaves us with second versus third playing the qualifying final at Summy on Saturday. Chelsea versus Red Hill. Chelsea have to have a lot of confidence going into this game, taking out the last time they met 60-28, and coming off a pretty good end of the home and away season with 4 wins on the the trot. So they'll be hoping to make that 5 and take on Seaford in the semi-final. So then on Sunday we've got 4th versus 5th down at Mornington and Devon Meadows 2. So they're able to get in the finals over Devon Meadows 1. I wonder if that was a strategic naming of the teams. Devon Meadows 2 versus Hastings. So played each other twice this year. And both relatively close games. So Hastings got the first meeting by 6 goals, and Devon Meadows came around and took the next meeting by 4 goals. So 1 each. Cracking game in set for us. Both coming off a pretty...
and it's do or die, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, look...
And top 5, so sorry, Langy, you guys were 6. Sorry about that.
2 wins for each of them coming into the last couple of weeks. So they'll be... It's do or die, so it's unfortunate. I'm sure it'll be everyone playing on the line, and we'll see who comes away with the cookies at the end of Sunday. And in D grade, we have Devon Meadows just missing out on the finals by 2 points. So
that's tight.
A little unlucky for them.
Yeah.
And we've got a percentage and 2 points. It's what's going on down in Div 2. But
so
anyway,
close.
Moving on, Coringal undefeated season again with the minor premiership. So pretty awesome effort, Seaford, and then we've got another 2 Coringal team, another 1 Coringal team undefeated. So pretty top effort from those teams down there to go through the 18 rounds with 18 wins.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So they're looking forward to the week off. 2nd versus 3rd on Saturday, Langy versus Chelsea. So they were able to meet each other twice this season. So in the Div 2, not everyone met each other twice due to the way the number of teams and the fixture. So we had a 2-point win to Langy down at round 1, right at the beginning of the season. So
not much you can really take from that, is
there?
there?
And then Chelsea turned it around in the next round, 14, and with a 11-goal win. So they'll be coming in with confidence. Second chance for whoever doesn't take away the cookies this weekend, but it'll be... I'm going to go with Langy, I think. We'll get the chance to take on Coringal in the semi-final. And then a 4th versus 5th in our elimination final on Sunday at Mornington. Summy versus Red Hill only played each other the once. Somerville got across the line by 2 goals
only 2
and
points
round 10, so only 8 games away. Both coming into with a decent, so Summy coming off 4 wins. Red Hill had a loss last week, so they'll be playing Langy.
They'll be itching
They'll be trying to get back on the winners list and take that semi-final spot over Summy. So another interesting game there for us.
That'll be a hard-fought game for sure.
And then looking ahead into Div 2 C grade, we have Langy, who missed out on the finals by 2 points.
Another 2-point out.
And they had a draw during the season, so kicking yourselves,
you'd be
really.
so disappointed, for sure.
Not sure who they drew to, because there's a couple of teams that had a draw here. So it was either Seaford or Red Hill, one up the top, one lower than them. But having to miss out on 2 points when you had a draw is a bit of a...
That's tough.
Bit of a tough pill to swallow.
It gives you something to look forward to for next season.
For next season, yeah, it's a long way ahead. But yeah,
those games are the ones you've got to win. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Coringal again undefeated with the week off, so they'll be resting. I did see they had some pretty good end of season celebrations, so they might need the week off just to get over that. But we have 2nd versus 3rd, Chelsea versus Red Hill. Only played each other once, and Chelsea, decent win with a 12-goal margin, although we know if our final last year is anything to go by, you can turn around 12 goals in a quarter.
And look, finals are a totally different ballgame, I think.
They are a different ballgame. There's 15 minutes, and you can... anything can happen in those 15 minutes each quarter. So,
and who handles the nerves better too? Because
exactly,
there are a lot more nerves.
Not a lot for us to go off. Chelsea and Red Hill both coming off 3 wins in the last 4 rounds. Chelsea's loss was a bit further away against Coringal, and then Red Hill just dropped their game to Langy by a couple of points, with Langy just missing out. So interesting there.
Yeah,
they were lost to a team outside the 5 and now playing for that next final spot. So good luck to both teams, and we'll see what happens next week. And then 4th versus 5th in the elimination final is Crib Point versus versus Devon Meadows. So met twice this season, and Devon Meadows were able to get on top the first round, and then Crib Point. So, a similar pattern here. We've had one team win the first one and the next team wins. So it's really anyone's game.
Just shows the...
Be interesting to see what happens.
So even in that competition, isn't it?
Extremely even. So B grade, a little bit, I think this has been set for a couple of weeks. We've got Coringal again, undefeated. So my comment about not many teams being undefeated is irrelevant. Because under 17s, D grade, C grade, and B grade. Yeah. We don't have that in Div 1.
That's a pretty impressive effort from one club.
It's a great effort. Yeah, one club, 3 teams, and a whopping win to them last week. 93 goals outside, a great effort from their goalers. So they're on fire, and I think as much monkeys as you can put on their backs, not going to really hold them
by the look of
not
it.
in this week because they have the week off, so it definitely won't affect them. Coming in, as we said, it's anyone's game final, so they're doing a great job, and they're definitely the team to beat. But we have second versus third, Summy versus Langwarrin.
Which, as we know from Christy, has been very tough sort of battle throughout the season, hasn't it, between those 3 teams?
Yeah, it has been a tough battle. We've got some great inside knowledge with Christy, but, again, Langy winning the first one by 10. Sorry, no, they're not. I read that wrong. Somerville won it. And then Somerville winning it again.
So they got both done. So that's interesting.
So they were able to get across the line and by a little bit of a good margin. So they'll have some confidence. Yeah. But Langy, as we all know, teams find an extra passion and an extra skier in a final series. So it can be anyone's game. And
absolutely. But they both get the double chance, don't
Double chance, exactly. So not so lucky for our 4th and 5th, who are fighting for the spot in the semi-final. Devon Meadows versus Seaford only met each other once, and 8-goal margin. So interesting to see Devon coming off a loss last round and Seaford coming off a really good win. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
I probably tip Seaford in that because, they've been pretty tough this season, haven't they, the Seaford girls?
Yeah, they have. So good tip from you there.
Thanks.
We'll see what happens next week.
It'll be interesting. Maybe that'll fire Devon up again.
Sorry. We'll show you, Sammy. And then moving up into A grade, Crib Point. Look, no one was undefeated in the A grade, so
there you go.
My point is still valid. It's a hard thing to do.
It is hard.
But Cribby getting the week off, and I'm sure they'll be happy to have a week off after. What is that?
It'll be a nice finish with Taryn playing last week. Finishing as minor premiers would have been a nice finish to the season. Yeah,
for the whole club. But looking at we've heard from Christy all season that this top probably 8 has been quite a tough anyone's game when it comes to it. There's been a couple of upsets and some really close games and then some really blowout games. So I'm sure Cribby will be happy to have the week off moving into final season. Then we have second versus third, Seaford versus Langy. So we know Seaford are a great team. And they're not new to finals. They've played finals for the last couple of years in Div 1. So this game's set to be a cracker. So Seaford in round 2 coming across with a 2-goal win, and then Langy not being able to get it done in round 15 again with Seaford coming across with a 6-goal win. So close, and very 6 goals in A grade's nothing. So when you get down to those final 5 minutes and you can do it, it's going to be a really cracking game. But I think it'll be Cribby Seaford in the first semi the following week, and Langy will have to try their hardest again when they come up against Hastings or Coringal, who take on our 4th versus 5th on the Sunday. Only met each other once, with Coringal getting the job done by 4 goals, so really going to be an interesting game, this one.
That's a tight margin too, isn't it?
Yeah. Both have had a loss in the last 4. Coringal have had 2, but they've had some really strong games. So they had Chelsea and Langy and Tyab in their run home.
It's a harder run.
And we had Rye, Chelsea and Seaford and then Somerville, which they got the win. So, they've both sort of a team that a little bit inconsistent across the season, had some great games and then had some games where you thought they would have won and they haven't come away with the 4 points. So I'm sure it's going to set up for another really cracking game.
It'll be really who can step up for that finals game.
Yeah, I'm sure Coringal A grade will be trying to prove their point to the rest of their teams that they too can make the grand final Sunday. But we'll see what happens. We'll see which teams turn up.
Fantastic.
But we've got some exciting weekends ahead of us.
Yes, I can't wait to see, and I cannot believe that it's finals time already, but it is really super exciting, and I can't wait to see how we go tomorrow. So again, we want to put a massive shout out to our sponsors, Swifts Locker, Frankie Media, and the Swordfish Wine Bar and Tapas. We appreciate your support, guys. And good luck to all Div 1 teams playing their final home and away games, and of course their finals for the Div 2 teams tomorrow.
Yeah, guys, very good luck. We can't wait to see what happens this weekend. Thanks for tuning in, and have a cracking games. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.